Hey guys, so first of all, before I start this video, I'd like to ask you to do me a solid favor, and that's like the video, ring the bell for notifications, subscribe to the channel, and share the video. Also, if you want to find my content elsewhere outside of YouTube, basically I have my podcast, BW Rosas Discussions. You can find that at all your various favorite podcast affiliates like iTunes, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Spotify, Audible, Amazon Music, Radio Public, and to an extent SiriusXM. Also guys, if you want to, you can also find me, ladies and gentlemen, you can find me as I adjust the camera here at other video outlets as well. You can find me at rumble.com, at odyssey.com, Dailymotion, and VENMO. The first two, you can find similar content to what you see here on my main YT channel, but some of the content may not be so YouTube friendly, so you can find it there only. Also, I have a DeviantArt page. If you want to check that out, it's BVW1979. I also have an Ink Bunny page at BW Rosas. Yes, I have an Ink Bunny page, inkbunny.net at BW Rosas. Also, I have a Patreon. I'll be letting you know what that Patreon is going to be more about in the future. I've been using it for several years now, and I've had several members at times and several donations and support. So if you guys want to help me out there, it'd be greatly appreciated. I also have a Cash App and a Venmo. You can also follow me through TikTok, Twitter, aka x.com, and Blue Sky. You can find me at any three of those platforms if you would like. Also, I have a couple of online stores as well. I have a Fourth Wall store that's been up for about a month and a half now, or a little over a month. You can check that out, and the links to that's going to be at the top, and at the bottom is links to my OG Teespring store, which has been up for a couple of years now. So if you want to check those out, it would be greatly appreciated. Also, ladies and gentlemen, if you would like, during the video premiere here live, during this live video premiere I should say, you can chat, you can chime in the live chat, kind of come in, say hi, give your thoughts on what I'm going to say and show here. As well as if you want to, you can donate through the SuperChats. SuperChats would be greatly appreciated if you could do that. Now, on both occasions, video premiere and afterwards, comments will be open as well. And also, ladies and gentlemen, if you do not get here in time for the live live chat or for the live chat, or the super chat donation, if you feel like doing it during the video premiere, if you don't get here in time for that video premiere, if you will, and you're watching afterwards, and you still want to help donate, super thanks will be open. So with that said, let me get a bit of coffee here for a second. Right now, if you're curious as to why I have my light on and everything, right now it is 3:49. We are, an hour away, or a little less than an hour away from sunset, if you will, because we're in regular time now, standard time. But also the fact that it's been raining on and off today, so basically when I turn off the light, like, let's say this way, you can't really see much. You can't really see much out of, on camera because it's that dark. But anyway, on to the topic at hand. Now, I originally did this I originally did this like several days ago. About several days ago I did this. And what happened was I recorded it. The whole thing on here, on my, tablet. And what happened is that for some odd reason, when you go beyond, I would say, I don't know if it's 25 or 30 minutes, it doesn't read the file. It's like the file becomes corrupted if you go beyond 30 minutes. So I don't know if that's just something they need to look into. They need to do a firmware update on or something. But if you go beyond 30 minutes or even 25, if you will, something, kind of goes wrong with the video file and everything. So you have to basically get rid of that and just do the whole thing over again, but make it shorter if you're recording on a tablet like that. But that's why I've decided to use the GoPro here, to basically talk about, what I mentioned I was going to do when I gave you my thoughts and reactions on the Michael trailer that came out a little over, almost a week ago now. And, I basically said that I've been a big Michael fan since I was almost 2-3 years old, I can assume, because as I mentioned in that one trailer, in that one video I should say, what I mentioned there is kind of true to a point. Again, I was too young to even remember, but basically, I know that it might have been at Lake Comanche during the summer, or visiting my grandparents or something like that, one of those years, to where my grandfather loved music. He had this, it's like as soon as you walked in, to the into the house, like you're coming in. Let me show you, for example, right here. Let me just move this back a little bit. I don't know if that's gonna work or what. Let me see. Okay, so let's see. What does that show over there? Okay, that show the. Let me see. Hold on. Let me check something. Oh yeah, it's the Pepsi thing that's in front of it. That's what I was wondering. It's the, not Pepsi can, but it's the Coca-Cola Christmas can that my niece gave me. See, it had soda in it, so I have both of them here. But anyway, it's kind of like, let's say for example, you're walking in, right? You're coming into the house, right? And you're turning to here, or you're turning this way, depending on how you're watching this. But you're turning to your left or your right, depending, like I said, depending on how you're watching this. You're turning to your right, if you will. You're turning to your right. Or left, depending again like how you watch this. And right there, as soon as you come in the front door, it's like as soon as you come in the front door, right to the right of you, if you to the left, actually to the, I'm trying to envision it. Yeah, it's the left, to the left. Yeah, that's right, to the left, if you will. Once you go to the left, there's a big stereo, and he used to have different kind of stereos. If he had a new stereo he bought, he would take the one stereo in the living room, place it into the extra room that he turned in. That used to be my uncle's room when he lived with my grandparents, his parents, if you will, my grandparents. But my grandfather turned it into his trophy room, kind of like a collectible room for himself, sports room, whatever, and a study. Let's put it that way. So anyway, you would walk into the living room. And right here would be a stereo, no matter what version he had, on what model he had. And basically, what it would be under the stereo would be, if it had a record player, a vinyl player, you'd see a lot of records. And some of those records were, of course, Spanish singing records, Spanish, Latin music, records, if you will. But also some other, artists as well, modern, some artists that we grew up with at that time. And a lot of them, believe it or not, were Michael Jackson. They were Michael Jackson albums underneath. So as I adjust this camera here for a second. Okay, make sure it's all set and good. But yeah, basically a lot of them were Michael Jackson records. Along with some Latin music records and all that. But anyway, to get to the point, it was either visiting the house one day or camping with the rest of our relatives at Lake Comanche, because we would do that every summer, if you will, as I just adjust this. But, we would do this, we would do that every summer. So, or at least when we could every summer. So anyway, I've been into it, like I said, in the description, I said in the original video, for about 2 to 3 years. Oh, not 2 to 3 years, but since I was 2 to 3 years old, I should say. 2 to 3 years old. As far as I can recall. Because I grew up on the music. I grew up on it. So anytime his music came on, I would listen. I may have not been fond of Thriller. I mean, come on, what kid at that time would want to watch Thriller knowing what, basically it was, what it was and all that. So, basically, I wasn't fond of that, but I was okay with the other videos. So that was... that was my thing, because again, you're a kid, Thriller comes on, it's like, oh God, I don't want to watch this. It freaks you out. But outside of that, I enjoyed, like, the rest of his music videos. I enjoyed the music, period. And I remember when we had one of my cousins living with us for a temporary time. It was about a decade ago. And he and his brother pointed out, because I went with them to the Walmart in Turlock to check something out, and they saw that they had some t-shirts, and they pointed to one that said, hey Brian, look at this. It was Michael Jackson. Now, I didn't have the money at the time, even though I think I might have been, no, I wasn't working yet, but I didn't have the money at the time because I was doing SSN or something like that, Social Security, SSI, I should say. And basically, I didn't have the money because I had to help with bills and stuff like that, but, there it was. And I always remember that moment. So what happened several years ago when I was working, I decided to go onto Amazon to see what they had. And lo and behold, I saw, and I wanted to get this for myself, I think for Christmas. It was like a Christmas gift to myself. So I ended up getting not one, because this is one of them. Let me back up a little bit so you can see it. I got this one. I don't know if you can see that well, but I got this one, if you will, off Amazon. I got that. And then, following that, I also got this one as well, so I can just try to open it up. I got this one as well. And what's funny is my nephew's grandmother-in-law saw this about a month ago when we went over to Folsom to celebrate my great niece's first birthday, his daughter. And she saw that and she's like, oh, it says dangerous. What, are we supposed to be like prepared or be warned or something like? She said, kind of made a joke about it, friendly joke about it, and everything. And then my great niece, who, like I said, turned 1 year old that year, turned 1 year old around that time. Basically her eyes were just looking at it like she was. It's like it fascinated her by what she was seeing. It was fascinating her by what she was seeing. But yeah, I ended up buying those and everything. And again, it's because I've been a fan for a long time. In fact, I'll show you this. In fact, I think I showed you. Excuse me. I think I showed you during the initial video. I bought this at the Apricot Fiesta about a year or two ago. It's a lithograph, as you can see. It's a lithograph, of his image. And originally, we were going to put this in the guest room over there. We were going to put it in the rec room, guest room, if you will. But I figured, you know what? I bought it. I might as well just put it in my room because, it's just one of those situations where you don't know when you're going to get the time. You're going to get the time basically to to do that. Excuse me. To do that, especially with a lot of stuff going on, nowadays. So basically, I just decided to put it on here, and put it in here, and just be done with it. But outside of that, it's not the only thing I got that's Michael Jackson related. Because like I said, I've been a fan since I was about 2-3 years old, and again, I don't know when I started liking the music. And, whether it was at, like I said, at my grandparents or at Lake Comanche, camping. But I just remember anytime it'd come on, I just like listening to it. So, so leave it to me to basically start, doing something that my parents would do, my parents and my aunts and my uncles would do, depending on who they liked growing up during their generations. And the same goes for my cousins and siblings and all that. But leave it to me to say, say to myself, well, if I'm a fan, I'm going to collect as much of the albums as I can that has his songs. Whether they're new songs, it's a new album, or it's just, another collection of his greatest hits. So this one, starting out, is of course, as I put this to the side, this one is the History album. Again, I don't know if you can see that very well, but this is the History album, if you will. This is the History album and everything. Again, I don't know if you can really see that well. Let me see. Let me see if I can get some light in here for you. I don't want to have to use my phone too much because I just turned my phone off and everything. I had to clear some space on it. And if you want some information of how to really clear space, if you have it set up in a specific way, just clear out the data for your Facebook, Instagram, and all that, and then you should have space. Also restart or shut down, and then after that, again, you should have some space. And if you want to get back onto your Instagram or Facebook or whatever, just do what you got to do, or do what you have set, and you should be good to go. But okay, let me just turn this back on. I want to make sure I see what I'm doing. But right here, like I said, this is the History album. Right here, it's the History album. I've had this for about almost 30 years. Believe it or not, I've had it for almost 30 years. And the reason I say that is because originally, when I moved back to Kansas, you know, for my first birthday day, which was about a month, yeah, basically a month after I got back there, my family here sent me the double tape, the double audio cassette of history. And I had that for a time. I don't know what happened to it. It might have got wrecked or something. But then I remember looking into the advertisements, and you got to remember this was like the mid to late '90s. So you still had Columbia House advertising that you can get a lot of CDs for 1 cent. So guess what I did? I went and basically said, okay, here's 1 cent, and you know, and went and ordered a bunch of CDs, including history, which actually, if I remember right, counted as 2, because basically that's exactly what it is. It's two CDs, if you will, and the golden. I like that. The kind of gold with his image on it. That's kind of cool. You know, the gold with his image on it. That's kind of cool and everything. And then you have this like little booklet right here that came with it, which is, you know, full of a bunch of pictures and a lot of the lyrics and stuff. So just really cool to have in the collection. Just really cool to have in the collection and everything. And then of course that's when he performed at the Rose Bowl for the Super Bowl, if you will. So yeah, I was just really happy to get this version. And I think they did come, I don't know, I don't think the audio cassette, I think the audio cassette version, I don't know if the audio cassette version came with a booklet. I don't think it did. I don't think the audio cassette version came with a booklet, as far as I know. I don't think it ever did. But yeah, I was just happy to, you know, I was just happy to get this on CD, because again, it's, you know, it's his best work, if you will. It's his, you know, it's his greatest work and everything. So I was kind of, let me just fix the booklet better. Here we go. Put it back to the way it was. There we go. But yeah, I was just happy to, you know, get this on CD, and I was surprised that it was in gold. It was in gold CD. I don't know if the vinyls were like that when they put it on vinyl finally, but it's probably just, the vinyls are probably just, you know, what I'm going to show you in a little bit. But still, I was just happy to get this. Just glad to get this in the collection. So that was that was good for me. And then I just dropped my wallet. There we go. And then, of course, the other one that I got, basically after he passed, because, you know, as we all know, he was supposed to do a tour. He was supposed to do his final tour, like a farewell tour, right? And then he passed away. And they put out a documentary. The Jackson Estate allowed a documentary to be done, showing us, you know, him rehearsing and getting ready to start this tour that he was going to, you know, start at the Staples Center, now the Crypto.com Arena. You know, he was going to start it there, and it was just going to progress throughout the country, throughout the world, and then he was going to finish up and be done, right? Unfortunately, that never came to be. So they put out a documentary. I do have the documentary on DVD. I don't have a Blu-ray yet, but I am going to get the Blu-ray eventually. But I also have it on digital. So I have it on DVD and digital, and I do plan to get the Blu-ray. But along with that, they also released a soundtrack. You know, a soundtrack, if you will, that says the music that inspired the movie, and it's basically, you know, the same title, if you will. And it's a little digibook, which is kind of cool, a little digibook, if you will. So I like that. And you got the CDs in these little slip areas right here. You got the CDs in the little slip areas right here. So if you pull it out, you know, it's right there. So that's the CD. I don't know if you can really see that very well because of the lighting, but yeah, there's the CD. I mean, I knew instantly after he passed I had to get it. And then of course, just like with history, it's like a little booklet. Like I say, it's a digibook and everything. So just really nice to have. And then you got the other CD on the back here. So it's a two CD set. So you got another CD and a slip right here. And it's just all black. And again, I don't know if you can see that very well. But yeah, it's all, you know, basically, you know, the songs and everything, you know, that he was going to do. And like I said, the booklet basically is like it's a story. It's got the songs listed, but it's also got images of him performing, rehearsing with the people that he's brought on to be part of this. And they actually let me just put that back. They actually do showcase the people that got chosen to be part of his last tour. So that was kind of cool. But yeah, I got this. Had to get it, if you will, to have for the collection. And then, of course, ended up getting this one. This is basically the Essential Collection. This is one of those, it's a 2 CD set, of course. It's 2 CDs, 1 CD right there, and then another right there. Both say Epic and all that. And got some images on there too. And it's like a little booklet on the inside. So, that's kind of cool. But yeah, I had to get that, because again, it's got his, it doesn't just have his songs, but it has the songs with the Jackson 5. So I was, so this is an essential if you want it. And these essentials, as they call it, basically, I guess that's the word of the day here. These essential albums, they go out. I mean, I have a couple of essential albums behind me, for Mariah Carey and so on. So obviously you had to get one with Michael, and I'm really glad that they put this together. That was my phone if you heard anything. Then of course I had to get Off the Wall, the special edition, and they were bringing out all these special editions after he passed. So I had to get, of course, Off the Wall and everything. I had to get Off the Wall, into the collection. That's one of his first CD. That's one of his first albums. I don't know if it's his exact first album. I think his first album was his, basically self-titled. But I had to get this. I had to get it because it's got Rock With You, Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, She's Out of My Life. So yeah, it's got some good bangers on here, good songs. And speaking of She's Out of My Life, I actually used that as a AMV for Tails and Cosmo from Sonic X because of what happens at the end there. So I had to get that. I also had to use, so I used that, surprisingly, and I think a lot of people liked it and everything. But I used it, exactly for that. But yeah, I ended up getting this when it was released as a special edition. And then, of course, this was one of his last albums he put out before, This Is It. We have Escape. So we have Escape on there. So yeah, I got this album. Really, really happy to get it. It's like it's just one of his last ones that he did. It's one of his last ones that he did. So just, really thrilled to have it and everything. So again, I don't know if you can see that very well because of the light. But yeah, I was just really, really thrilled to have it and everything. So let me put that back in there. But yeah, I had to get that. I had to get Escape. I don't have Blood on the Dance Floor yet. I have to eventually get that. As I adjust the camera here for a second. Didn't even know it was a little off. There we go. But yeah, I don't have Blood on the Dance Floor yet, but I have to get that physically. I can listen to it on Spotify, but I gotta get it, I gotta get it physically, if you will. But yeah, I have Escape. Then I have this one, of course, another compilation. This is Michael Jackson's Number Ones. This is basically, it's only one CD. It's only one CD, but it's all his number one hits from, Don't Stop Till You Get Enough all the way down to Ben, a live edition of Ben, one of the first solo songs he did on his own, and everything. So it's all on here. You got Rock With You, Billie Jean, Beat It, Thriller, Can't Stop Loving You, Bad, Smooth Criminal, The Way You Make Me Feel, Man in the Mirror, Dirty Diana, Black and White, You Are Not Alone, Earth Song, You Rock My World, Break of Dawn, and One More Chance, along with the live edition of Ben. So yeah, I got that, and I was again happy just to have it to the collection, because even though it has some of the songs that history has, it's always good to have another compilation. Then of course got this one. This is Invincible. Actually, somebody in my family got this, and they said, you know what, Brian, you can have it. We're not going to listen to it as much, but there was one song on that they wanted, so so yeah, that's why they got it. But it does have the Rock With You song. This is where the Rock With You song debuted in this album. So there you go. And of course it's a mini movie / music video with Chris Rock, if you will. I think it's Chris Rock. Correct me if I'm wrong. Then, of course, got the special edition of Bad. Had to get Bad, of course, if you will. Had to get this one. You know, so yeah, this one, of course, has Smooth Criminal and I think Man in the Mirror on it. So yeah, I had to, and it's also just Can't Stop Loving You and all that. So I think, what else does it have on here? Let me see. Oh yeah, it's got a lot of bangers on here. It's got a lot of bangers. It's got let's see. I'm trying to make sure I read this right. It's got Dirty Diana on there, okay. You know, so yeah, it's got Dirty Diana. It's got Liberal Girl. It's got The Way You Make Me. Yeah, this is basically one of his big ones. This is one of his big ones, if you will. But yeah, I got Bad. Had to get that, of course, you know, into the collection. And then of course, ended up getting Thriller, the special edition. You have to get. I mean, if you're gonna have this, you're gonna have Michael Jackson music in your. You're gonna have Michael Jackson albums in your collection. You got to get this special edition or not. You got to get it. And of course, the news that came out is that Thriller, the #1, the song on here, the song that the album is named after, made history for Michael. That's right. Basically, what has it been like? What has it been like? 15 was like about 16 years after he passed. And basically, history has been made by him again with the song Thriller by getting into the top 10, if not top 100, for the sixth decade, if you will. Well, I wouldn't say sixth decade because it's four years. It's been 4 decades. But he's always had like a #1 song, you know, in the previous other decades. So he made history by being the first artist to have a #1 song in 6 decades. No other artist has ever done that. And he's been gone. He's been passed away for about 16 years. But that's still huge. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. It's exactly like I said in my thoughts and reaction video on the trailer. It's because when that came out, and that's already set records with being the most viewed musical biopic trailer probably of all time across the board. But basically, you know, I said in the video that watch his songs, watch a lot of his music, either after the movie comes out or after this trailer, watch a lot of the music, you know, hit straight to the top. And guess what? I was right. Thriller is one of those songs that hit straight back to the top 10. All because, I wouldn't be surprised, all because of that trailer. And don't be surprised if the same goes for, you know, the same goes for the, you know, for the other songs, all his other songs, excuse me, you know, after the movie comes out. So, yeah, ironically, Thriller goes to #1, goes to the top 10 again, ironically around the time the trailer comes out and breaks records for being the most viewed. How coincidental is that? But yeah, I ended up getting this, had to get it. And then, of course, got this. I had the cassette of it when I was a kid. I don't know what happened to the cassette. But, of course, had to get Dangerous on CD. Got this through Hastings, as you could tell. I don't know if you can really see that well, but yeah, through Hastings, because you see the bar right there. This is the original stuff that's on there. But yeah, I ended up getting it from Hastings for $6.99. I used to briefly work at Hastings, because it was like right across, it wasn't literally, yeah, it was kind of across the street, but what it was is that it was more along the lines of, let's say, you know, like I'm right here, like what I just moved to like right here. So like here's my apartment. Here I am walking out of the apartment, out of the building, and then I'm going right through like going through the little yard that they have there, the grass area, the yard that they have there, right? So I'm walking through the yard. There's this fence. There's this wooden fence, and it has a hole in it. I guess it's for people to come in and out of. They kind of fixed it a little bit to where you could still go in and out, but basically you had to, I think, open something. I can't remember. But basically they fixed it enough to where you could still go in and out, but it wouldn't allow like certain, you know, it wouldn't allow certain other people in or something. I don't know. But anyway, I remember going out, you know, through that fence, going through the parking lot of the shopping center right next door to us that used to have a Gauge 4 theater. Gauge 4 theater right next door to us. I used to go like I said, I went out that, I went through that fence, through the parking lot of the shopping center. And then, right after I got through the parking lot, and there was also an old Chicago restaurant there too, I would go straight, which I ate at, I think a few times. I would go straight to the sidewalk, walk down to the corner, walk down to the corner, press the walk button on for the light so I can cross. And I would go across either this way or that way, this way or that way. And that was my phone again, I do apologize. I'd either go this way or that way, and then I would go across again, go this way or that way, depending, like I said, how it went. And I would go right over to Hastings, and I'd be able to rent games, rent and buy games, rent and buy movies. I worked there, like I said, very briefly, so I did a lot of stuff. Just, with that place, selling stuff if I had to, because yes, I did sell stuff because I needed money to pay rent and pay bills, because sometimes my checks wouldn't come in time, or when I was on not unemployment, but Social Security, if you will, I wouldn't get it on time if, when I would need it. So, so long story short, I had to sell some stuff. So for anybody watching and they know who they are, yes, I have done that, but that was my choice, not anybody else's. But anyway, that's where I got this back when I bought it. And like I said, I used to have the cassette. I just don't know what happened to the cassette. Now, speaking of that album, I also recently, about a year or two ago, got it on vinyl. Yep, I got it on vinyl, if you will. And it's one of those, it's a 2-record set. As you can see, it's a 2-record set. And it's 2 records. So this record has these songs on it, if you will. This record has these songs on it. And basically it's just, like that. That's what both records look like. So, but yeah, this, 2-record set. So that's kind of cool. And everything. It's kind of cool to have in my collection. And they do have other albums that they put they do have other vinyls of his albums that they put out, so I still have to get those as well eventually. But yeah, basically I got this, from Walmart, and everything. And what I have my camera on right now is my vinyl player, so I'd have to clear it out, make a little room, especially with the speakers, if I wanted to play this on there and everything. So yeah, basically this is the album I got right here, so that's kind of cool. And then, speaking of vinyl albums, of course, had to get this. And this is one of those special edition releases that they put out because, yeah, the songs are on both and everything. Songs are on both, but they're two-sided. They're 2 picture sided, if you will. So let me, see if you can see right there. Yeah, it's 2 picture sided. So that's kind of cool that they did it that way. And then of course that's the songs and everything. So really nice, really nice. And if you guys are gonna have any problems looking at this, if you have HDR, put the HDR option on, and you should be able to be okay. You should be okay. Well, let me switch that over again. Sorry. But yeah, two sides and everything, so just really cool to get and everything. And I think they did finally put it back into like a regular album release, but had to get this, had to. And then last but not least, of course, I ended up getting this. Now I didn't get the Connect version because I don't have a Connect, but I'm probably going to get a Connect, either refurbished or renewed down the line. But since I have a Wii, I decided, you know what? Why not get the Wii version? And this one came out a little before, and it was the most, and basically it was the most advertised. It was the most advertised, I think, even after the Connect got their version, the PS3 got their version. This was the one that was most advertised more than anything. And this is the reversion of Michael Jackson, The Experience. So yeah, Michael Jackson, The Experience. And basically what it is, you're just using the Wii remote to, if you will, to basically dance to the songs. That's all you're doing. You're just using the Wii remote. And yeah, that's about it. You're just using the Wii remote and the nunchucks to dance to the song and everything. So yeah, I was just happy to get it. And yeah, it's not probably, you know, it's not basically the Xbox or anything. It's not that or anything like that. You know, it's not the Xbox, I should say, or anything like that. You know, and everything. Well, basically, the Kinect sees you, it reads you, reads what you're doing, takes a picture of you doing the dance moves. Here, you're just using the Wii remote. Now, you might say, well, how does that work? Because all you're doing is doing this and doing that. The Wii remote, the way it works is that it goes with a certain position. It's like when it shows you this, you know, you do this. When it wants you to do this, you do this. You know, and everything. So, and basically, it'll read it. It'll read like what you're doing. You know, it basically all the games are done differently. But I will get a Kinect version, and I will get a Kinect version. I will get a Kinect, if you will, and I will get a Kinect version of this, so I can have both and have the full experience, if you will. But anyway, though, guys, that's really about it. That's really about it. All I can say here and show you here on this video. Cause you know, and like I said, I originally had done this before, but again, the file got corrupted. Don't know why. You know, again, I can assume it's when you're using a tablet like the Fire. It kind of gets a little. Let me just straighten my. It gets a little, I guess, overwhelmed with certain minutes and everything. So I don't know. But anyway, I just wanted to, like I said, come on here and finally do this. Let you see what I have as far as being an MJ fan and all that. And yeah, that's about it. And again, like I said, I'm not surprised that ironically, after this trailer comes out and breaks records of being the most viewed biopic musical trailer, that Thriller as a song is in the top 100, top 10 for for a fourth decade, thus allowing Michael to be the first artist to get a hit in 6 decades. So that's huge. But let me know what your thoughts are, guys. Comment down below, like the video, ring the bell for notifications, subscribe to the channel, and click on the links in the description to find my content elsewhere and to support me elsewhere outside of YouTube. But let me know your thoughts. Let me know if any of you, if you haven't already in the super chat, in the live chat, I should say, let me know in the comments if any of you have these stuff and all that, and what, you know, how do you feel about having it and everything. Let me know what version of Experience you have game-wise. And until next time, guys, I will talk to you later. So until then, God bless, take care, peace out, and I'm out.